Welcome to the fight game. I'm Puma, he's Icewater, and we're going to do a little something different on the fight game. This is a fighter that I want to talk about, Sugar Ray Leonard, but also we're going to go through ESPN's pound for pound top fighters, and we'll give our comments on that. But this is a fighter, Sugar Ray Leonard, that I really didn't appreciate until later on after his career was over. And I'll tell you why, and then we'll give him his accolades, give him his flowers now, is because Sugar Ray was kind of, to me, he was kind of coming right after on the heels of Muhammad Ali. And I felt like the media was trying to make him the next Muhammad Ali. And for me, it was like, you can't replace, you know, Sugar Ray Leonard with Muhammad Ali because he had some of the antics of Muhammad Ali. He had some of the facial expressions. He was charismatic. He was a guy you just loved to hate. If to me, he was a guy that you wanted to root for, didn't want to root for, but I still say he's one of the best fighters that I ever seen, pound for pound. He took his craft very seriously, even though he was showboating things of that sort. And a lot of people were saying that I'll leave you with this. He ducked Aaron Pryor, but I read an article a few weeks ago, and that was not the case. They just could not fit the schedules together, and him and Aaron Pryor actually became pretty good friends. But we'll go back and forth and talk about Sugar Ray Leonard. What are your thoughts about Sugar Ray Leonard?
Yeah, and I think about this shows my age, but that's okay. Yeah, I'm old. Y'all see the gray. Anyway, but when I think about Sugar Ray Leonard, I think about 1976 Olympic team, which is one of the greatest, if not the greatest Olympic team of all time. He was a major player on that, and just the way his speed and the way he was with the white boots all on and everything. You could tell he was due for greatness and stardom when he was in the Olympics, and then he moved on and became a welterweight, and we moved up, became a professional, and still had the same style, and still was charismatic, and just really wanted to like him. But it's no secret that I was more of a bigger Thomas Hearns fan than I ever was Sugar Ray Leonard. I think because it was the Midwest, and he's from the East Coast, and Thomas Hearns being from the Crunk Gym in Detroit. I was like, man, Thomas Hearns is right next door, and yeah. But the one thing I say about Sugar Ray Leonard, even though um, he was quick, and you didn't really think he had a lot of knockout power, but he was able to fight a lot of different styles, and that's what I liked about him. He was able to fight a lot of different styles, and the list of the people that he fought really set the tone for me for his whole career. Because you think about it, starting off fighting with the likes of Wilfred Benitez, fought Roberto Duran twice, fought Thomas Hearns twice, fought the illustrious Marvin Hagler and beat him at his own game. And he later on with Terry Norris, but he at a time where it didn't make sense. You thought he was probably probably taking a lot of chances, particularly with a guy like Duran in his prime. And even with, I mean, just think about the punchers that he fought. Well, I just those names I mentioned. And when you saw his style, Sugar Ray Leonard's style that is, you said, hey man, this by a guy, one of these dudes is gonna catch him and knock him in the next week.
Yeah.
But he always stepped up, and he was not afraid, and he was a very smart fighter, and he found ways to win. And he lured people in. But what I think the other part that I liked about him was he was tough. And some people saw him because he was, Sugar Ray Leonard's pretty boy, and, always he trying to be like Ali a little bit. But I don't think we had an appreciation how tough he was because of some of the punishment that he took. Even though he won, you think about I to this day I think about how he talks about the first fight with Thomas Hearns, and even before that when he had like a detached retina, and he was already detached before in the fight he had before, and then imagine what Thomas Hearns did to him. And they talk about his testimonies of how he had to come from deep inside himself because he knew he was one right hand away from being knocked out. I really now appreciate his toughness because he was a little dude, wasn't the biggest dude. He had fast hands, he could move, he was quick, but he took on some brawlers, some bullies, some punchers, and walked in there like, you're not supposed to be in the ring. And he's like, told y'all. And I love that about him. He just had a knack for being that type of guy. Although I'm gonna give you all your credit in the world. You know you're supposed to see my man, the Hawk. That's all I'm gonna say. That's the only fight I missed. I wish they would have fought. And I understand negotiations fell through. And this is your segment, Sugar Ray Leonard. Kudos to you, one hell of a fighter. But you know you're supposed to see my man, the Hawk. You know you was. You
Yeah.
don't want to see, you don't want that Hawk in your life though. And I think you knew that.
I'm going to debate you another day on the Hagler Leonard fight, but we ain't going to do that today because we're giving out flowers to Sugar Ray Leonard. He was born Ray Charles Leonard. He was named after Ray Charles. Born in Wilmington, North Carolina. My daddy's homeboy, and he used to always say that I'm going to see my homeboy fight. And so he was a welterweight, a light middleweight, a super middleweight, a light heavyweight. He went up in those weight classes, about 5'10", 74-inch reach, orthodox. He fought 40 total fights, 136, 25 by knockout. He had one draw and seven losses. Of course, he won a gold medal in the 1996 Olympic team. And became a Fighter of the Year in 1976, 1979, 1981. And so, like I said, I wasn't the biggest fan, but for the last few years, I've been on YouTube watching old fights, and just to see how cerebral he is in that ring, and how he outthought fighters, and how fast he was. He was just kind of the consummate fighter, and he can just strategize on how to beat you. And I remember them asking him, could you beat the Philly Shell? And he said, yeah, I already did. He beat Mayweather's uncle when Mayweather's uncle was using the Philly Shell. And he said, yeah, this is how you do it. But nobody, it amazed me that nobody kind of went to him and said, hey, teach me how to do this so I can beat Mayweather. They never went to him. And I'm sure if he wanted to train other fighters, it's kind of hard when you're that elite of a fighter to train other fighters and know that they're not going to reach that level you're reaching or you have reached. So I can see why he kind of stays away from the fight game as far as training other fighters. But if I was a young fighter, I would just sit by his side and like give me those nuggets that is going to make me one of the greatest fighters ever. So I know Boxing Rec ranks him as the 14th greatest boxer of all time, pound for pound. That's saying a lot. That is saying a lot because there are a number of fighters out there, and he became like the heartwarming story during the Olympics. I remember, I think he was getting ready to have a child at the time, and he came to me one of the best boxing classes to ever come out of the Olympics. That 76 boxing team. I mean, you had so many champions and so many star-studded fighters, and he was the best of the best out of all of them. Your thoughts again on Sugar Ray, man?
No, I think you hit it right on the money. He was a showman. He knew how to win. And like I said, I think about the time where I mean, I just knew Thomas Hearns had him in the second fight too, but Thomas Hearns had an issue with stamina. The same way he did against Hagler. But Sugar Ray Leonard, even when he lost to Duran the first time in Montreal, it was a big talk about, oh, he's not as great as you thought he was. But when he came back and he made Duran say no mas, I mean, he was just one of those things. And he had took on, imagine fighting Thomas Hearns is one thing, right? But then he brought on, as he got older, he took on the fight of a lifetime against Marvin Hagler. And everybody said, you signed to get death warrant. Man was like, nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna show y'all. And forever you thought he won or not. It's just the fact that he got in there. Because he could have ran. He never had to fight Hagler. But he took on it. That's who he was. He took on challenges. That's who the guy is as a boxer. You're like, nah, you say it makes sense? I mean, Dawes is cool, but you don't think I can beat him, do you? You're like what people would say, what are you doing and having any business being in the ring with Roberto Duran? Little hands, hands of stone. No way.
Yeah.
Well, she was like, I don't care. I'm going in and I'm gonna show the world how great I am. And that's what he did oftentimes.
What would be if you could have the fantasy of other than Aaron Pryor, other than Aaron Pryor? but maybe a modern fighter or a fighter that came after Sugar Ray or before Sugar Ray, that would have been like a fantasy fight that you would have wanted to see.
Definitely Mayweather.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Floyd.
me too.
Definitely Mayweather.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for everything that Sugar Ray said he could do to Floyd, and I know he beat his uncle, Floyd was just a different dude. It just like Sugar Ray makes you fight differently. I would love to see that fight because it's like you got to get in there and for everything that you're saying, he's a special talent. Um, the other fight too, because it might be too heavy, but maybe at a certain time, just because I would love to see the style and see if he can handle it. Because I think this might be one person that actually probably could knock the hell out of him. Could catch him first, right? Because you got to catch him and knock him out. But I think it would be him versus Sugar Ray Robinson.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
Sugar's like you about Ray Robinson about 160. When we get like 154 or something like that, I think they will be okay. I would love to see that fight. I know that's the two sugars, but with the power and stamina, it would take Sugar Ray Leonard to another level, like he always did.
hmm
But I think it'd be worthwhile. Yeah, definitely that fight.
I want to throw one more in there. Terrence Crawford. I would have loved to see him
Ooh,
go at each
yeah,
other. I would have loved to see that. To see, I wouldn't even say who's gonna win. That would
yeah.
just be an enjoyable fight, just to see those guys in that ring, just going at it, and the game, the strategy, and how they would get to each other. So yeah, Sugar Ray Leonard, salute. I want to give you your flowers while you're still here, brother. He's 68 years old, and long live the king, as they say. Let's go to the pound for pound top 10. ESPN, we're going to go from 10 to number one. And I was a little surprised at this list. This list was back in August. So, but some ways I was surprised, some ways I'm not. Number 10 fighter is Teofimo Lopez. He was ranked number 10 with a 21-1 record, 13 knockouts. He's the junior welterweight champion at the time. He fought, his last fight was Steve Clabet on June 29th. And I was a little surprised because thought he might be, really, I didn't think he was going to be on this list. And there are a few people that are on this list that aren't on this list that I want to kind of note. And then you have Shakira Stevenson. Now, he hasn't had a lot of the stellar fights that we're used to seeing, but he is at number 9. At one particular time, he was kind of ranked a little higher on this list, but now he's kind of holding on number 9. He's a lightweight champion. For those two, he's 22-0, 10 knockouts. For those two, agree, disagree?
Secure, yeah, I can see that there. Because he hasn't been as active and he hasn't won. That really have faced the opponents that people want to see him fight. I don't think you can move him up, but I still think you got to recognize him now because when you put him in there, he wins fights. We want to see him against better competition, but I think he would. Yeah, he still deserves that. And the same thing with Teofimo Lopez. He's been winning ugly lately, right? Real ugly, but considering the fact that excuse me, despite it was not, it was some things have happened controversially with Devin Haney. I mean, you can't put him up there because what we saw, minus the whatever the cheating scandal is going on right now. But Teofimo, not bad at 10. I can rock with Shakur at 9.
All right. Number 7 and 8. Let's go with number 8. This is a surprise to me because I thought he would be higher. Gervonta Davis is ranked number 8, 30-0, 28 knockouts, lightweight champion. I'm sorry. His last fight was a 8-round KO to Frank Martin. I thought he would be at least 4 or 5 in this list because of what he's been able to accomplish. And then number 7, which was a surprise to both of us, because I haven't seen too much of this guy, is Jesse Bam Rodriguez. He's ranked number 7, 20-0, 13 knockouts, junior bantamweight champion. His last fight was against Juan Francisco Estrada, a 7th round KO win on June 29th. What do you say about these two?
Yeah, I think I'll move Devontae Davis up maybe even as early as 6, right? Maybe 6, because I think he's proven himself to KO and stop Frank Martin the way that he did was very impressive. He's done nothing but win. I don't know what else you can ask for him, so he hasn't done anything to make you have him drop. But in order to put people in front of him, I think they need to have substantial wins and substantial records. And I think the reason why a lot of people are really pumped up about Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez is because he's been moving up slowly but surely in upper weight classes. And then when he beat Juan Francisco Estrada, who beat Chocolatito before, he got instant popularity, and that's cool. But Estrada's getting older too, right? So that's why when he won, and like, oh, he went up like a couple classes, and now he's all this and that, and you move him to seven. I
Yeah.
think that's a little hype there because when you do that, I'm like, well, you fighting at now he's up to 115 when he beat Estrada, right?
Yeah.
I said, how come we get excited when my man Junto Nakatani's at 118, 27 and 0, 20 knockouts? So you do the math. And this man, Junto Nakatani, is preparing to go to 118 to fight the monster. So that man got to be on my list. 27 and 0, 20, and you thinking about fighting the monster? So, I mean, where they do that at? So, Rodriguez, come on up 118. If you dare, there's only 3 more pounds. And in fact, Nakatani might come down for you. So, whatever you need to do, he waiting.
Yeah.
So, in order to put Rodriguez up there, you clearly, to me, I think Nakatani is a step above. I just do, and I don't know why his name's not being mentioned at all in that regard.
Okay, let's go to the next two. Better Beef is number 6, and Canelo is number 5. And other pound for pound, Canelo to me seemed to be he was ranked a little bit higher. But I'm gonna throw another one in it. Baval is ahead of Canelo Alvarez at number 4. Would you switch those three, or how would you do it?
No, I mean, you got to give Bavala's love. He won.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Canelo. How can you skip a man because you like him and you heard more of him? You watched it. It's on the tape. It's out there. Anybody want to watch it? Watch the YouTube. And he beat him. So I mean, how you gonna put that man because you like him better, or you
Right.
you have American Mexican heritage, and you feel like, well, he's better. Okay, say what you want to. He clearly and clearly defeated Canelo. So I think he should be up there first. I do think Canelo should be over Better Beef. Canelo is still Canelo. Okay, he showed you in his last outing against Berlanga wasn't the greatest opponent, but there was a lot of action involved, and he fought. So can't take anything away from him because he's still winning. Better Beef though, I mean, it's hard to not put him somewhere in there because he's 20 and 0, right? So he's proven something. But I guess because he is undefeated, that's why he's getting the love.
Yeah.
So I'm still surprised that I mean, I guess when you're 20 and 0, until you deserve to be middle of the pack, right?
Yeah.
Until somebody shows you they can beat you. But once perhaps if we take that L from Baval, he might just drop out from the 10, personally for me.
Yeah, and he soundly beat Cullum Smith, a few months back, and Berlinga, Canelo Alvarez just beat Berlinga, and so yeah, it's a clash, it's a collision course getting ready to happen, and I want it to happen, want it to happen. Next three up is the Monster. He's ranked number 3 with a 28-0 record, 25 knockouts. He is the junior featherweight champion. You have Terrence Crawford, ranked number 2 pound for pound by ESPN, 40 and 0, 31 knockouts, welterweight, unified champion. And you have the little man, Usyk is number 1 pound for pound. Of course, he beat Tyson Fury back in May, and they are scheduled to fight December 21st. So, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the Monster keeps winning, and I think he deserves to be right in that area. I think you might see him coming up on one or in that area that talk, particularly if you watch, I mentioned Junto Nakatani. Nakatani is 118, he's like 122. I mean, they saying this might be one of the greatest bouts ever, and it may be one of the greatest fights in Japan. Period. So I love to see him move up, and he's not afraid of anybody. So I love to see that fight. So I think he's solid at three. Number two, Terence Crawford. What can you say? Even though against Madrimov, he was okay. He won. He was okay. I mean, he wasn't. But we had to come to realize that in this modern day time, you had to quit talking about you. Everybody wants to see knockout. Okay, no, there's more
It's
to
not going to
boxing than
happen
that.
all every fight. No.
I get it. I know, like we like the Mike Tyson era, but you want to see two guys battle, right? That's what I want to see. I want to see two guys putting work in, and so I think Crawford did that. And the factor that he's moving up and making his way to 154, and if he hang around there a little bit, it'll be 160. There's a lot at 154 for Crawford to deal with. A lot of people that would love to see him. And the question is, will his power work that way too? But there's a lot of people, so I don't have a problem with him at number two. Number one, the little man Alexander Usyk has had one hell of a year, last couple 2 years, by defeating Anthony Joshua twice, and then finally taking care of Tyson Fury once they got in the ring, and then prior to that, winning major titles, so going from cruiserweight up to heavyweight and winning impressively. You got to give him his love because I think he deserves it. As like anything else, he's proven himself on that level. I appreciate him being man enough to take the rematch and get back in there one more time. Truth be told, though, and I know this is a pipe dream for me, but if he was to go on and beat Usyk, I mean Usyk was going to beat
Fury.
beat Fury. Yes, I'm on point. To beat Fury, and this is a lot. Then I want you to drop down and let's get some into that. I would love to see him, and I know it's too much because if you're at one, he's kind of more of a cruiserweight, which is like 190,
Yeah.
or like a 182 mark or something like that, right? I don't know. That might be way too much because you're already big. And if it happens right, I would. And this is just maybe a dream match. I would love to see him fight the little man fight uh, Bivol
Ooh, ooh,
182.
I
Yes,
don't know
sir.
if that could ever happen.
I know you don't, because you don't want to see that.
I would like to see it. I would like to see it because um, and there are two things. I would have put Terrence Crawford at number one and then Usyk number two.
Ooh,
Yeah,
why?
I love Usyk, but I would have put Terrence Crawford number one. Terrence
Why?
Crawford to me has earned that number one spot as pound for pound.
Ooh,
And nothing,
me?
taking nothing against Usyk,
Ooh.
I would have switched that. But I think Usyk could handle Bivol. I think he can handle Bivol. And I love Bivol. I love both fighters. But
No, you don't.
the
No,
little
you don't.
man, the little man
You love the little
he,
man. Just keep it right there.
he's got a fan in me. He's got a fan in me.
Yeah, but I understand. I guess for me, the reason why I'm not putting Crawford up there because of his last performance, right?
Yeah, but I got to give him kudos where he just dismantled a guy that I didn't think
I
he could
did.
beat.
He
In
did.
Errol Spence Jr. I'm like, my mouth is still wide open thinking about that fight. Like, you made him look
No,
like a mere mortal in there.
no,
And
I get that. And I'm with you. I agree. I understand why you would say that. Just for me though, it's like what Usyk has done. Is done in the
yeah,
last 24 months.
yeah,
I mean, even though I thought the Joshua thing was kind of a joke, and people were like, oh, you never know. And I said Anthony Joshua, I thought still suspect.
yeah,
I thought he had his moments, but I thought he always the right punch, and I just thought that Usyk was just too quick. He was too small. He was too quick, and he knew how to get in and fight and win that fight in the same way. Being first. So I thought Joshua, even though he was a bigger guy in the heavyweight, I thought he was out of his league because this guy was too quick. As
yeah.
long as he could stay away from him. So that's why I saw that too. And then to fight Fury, even if I think Fury was playing around, he secured the victory. You got to give me that. And then two, why you still pound for pound number one for me? Because you said let's run it back. That's a man there. He said
All right.
that alone make you number one to me because you're not afraid. You going back and you know what? This is the fight that I want Fury to take in all seriousness and come in ready after he lost the first time And then if you take him down again, we know it's real. But the fact that he said, I'm not running, I'm signed, that makes him number one to me.
So three notable people that are not on this list. I mean, there are some notable people. You got Lomachenko, he's not on this list. Devin Haney, he got embarrassed. I didn't expect him to be on this list. But we talked about this last week about the generation of heavyweights, and it's over. Fury, Joshua, and Wilder are nowhere to be seen on this top 10. They used to be fixtures on this top 10, at least Wilder and Fury. They're nowhere on this top 10. Any thoughts about that, sir?
Oh, no doubt. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you asked me that question. I'm glad you asked me that question. Anthony Joshua, I'm not surprised at all because they certain people love him so much because he has a nice demeanor. He's very respectful. He's he's very classy, and he speaks well, and he seems like a really good dude. But when we get in that boxing ring, I've always said I just thought at some point kind of had like the Thomas Hearn chin. Once he get hurt and get hit, it's hard for him to come back. Although he had a hell of a fight coming back this last time, he gave it his all. But I think he has an issue with stamina as well. So I'm not surprised by him not being in the top 10. Wilder, of course, not, because I don't think the last two fights he really wanted to be there. I really don't. I don't think he was the guy that we've been, wanting to see with a comeback. It's kind of like waiting on Mike Tyson, the fierce Mike Tyson, to come back and fight.
Yeah.
Wilder just doesn't have it anymore. But I will say I'm a little surprised by Fury. I mean, you lose to the number one pound for pound, and I mean, especially Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez. Come on, man. Fury, I mean, he's done it. He's done a lot. He's done a lot. I think he could have been 10. He deserved that. You talk about accolades. He was right there with the number one guy. So I think he deserved that. And I mean, you notice who else is not in there. And he swears that he's Mr. Everything, and he ain't even getting a sniff. I don't even think he's in the bottom at all. David Benavidez.
Yeah.
Nowhere near.
Yeah.
That tells you what they think about it.
Yeah. We're gonna call each other the Gap Band, man, because we two Gap Tooth brothers that are just putting it down.
Hey, ladies, come holler at me. It took me a long time to get over my gap, but damn it, I'm here.
Special talents come with the gap.
There you go.
He's Icewater, I'm Puma, and Mr. Fight.